Good morning, this is Dr. Cooper. Happy Friday and welcome to the end of week one. And congratulations to all of you who successfully completed the orientation. I know it's a little stressful in the beginning because it's a new class and you know it's all different, especially this class is a lot different than some of the other classes that you may have had. But I'm here to help, and so you made it through, and now we are working on Module 1. So you do have a couple of assignments that were due, I believe, yesterday and this weekend. So let's jump in and take a quick look at that. I want to also point out a couple of things that you may not be aware of that will help you be successful in the class. I also want to hear from you. Some of you had trouble in the beginning with the flip video discussion. If you're still having trouble with that, let me know. I know that they're supposed to be captioning the videos and you shouldn't have trouble, but my advice is to try the Chrome browser. That's the browser that I use and it works perfectly for me, so try that and then let me know how it goes. I know that those of you on a Mac, and if you're in the digital media arts program, you're probably all on Macs, but you can still download the Chrome browser on a Mac computer and use that instead of trying to use Safari. And then always, if you use your, if you can come to campus, we have computers on campus that you can use if you're having trouble with that. So let's jump in and take a quick look at what you have to do to finish off this week. All right, so the first thing you'll probably notice when you log in to Canvas is that we have this interesting skin on our Canvas shell. And we call this delphinium. You'll see a link to it here. This is not anything that you have to participate in, but it does sort of make the class a little bit more fun by making it a competition. So there's a leaderboard and all of that good stuff. You have avatars, and I will be awarding prizes for people who meet certain standards in the gaming system. Now, if you're not participating, that's fine. Don't worry about it. You're not going to be penalized in any way. Now, if your Module 1 is not open, the first thing you want to do is click on the orientation module so that you can see what you are missing. So you can see here that the course orientation page, you have to view that page. Once you view that page, then it will be checked off. Same thing here, you need to download the syllabus. Once you view and download the syllabus, this will be checked off. You had to score at least 8 or better in order for this to be checked off. And then down here, you had to score at least 1. So this is the reason why I gave you all, not all of you, but most of you, a 1 on your introductions, is because I had to split the 2 introductions and I don't know where you went to reply to your classmates. So I might be looking at one of the discussions and I don't see any replies from you. But that doesn't mean you didn't do them. They're in the other. So I need a little bit more time to figure out where you replied. Plus I want to finish looking at and watching the videos that you all posted. I looked at most of them and got to meet and learn a little bit more about the majority of you. So I look forward to finishing that up. But that's why you have 1 right now. It's just a temporary grade. I'll update that. But anyway, the point of this part of the video is that once everything is checked off here, then the next module will open. You'll see that it is completely green, and then you'll be able to close this, and now this one will be open. It'll look different for you when you're in here because you will actually have work done, but because I'm the teacher, it doesn't show that I've done any work because I haven't. Okay, so let's jump in and see where we are now and what we should be working on. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and jump into the Module 1 overview page because that's where we are right now. We're working on Module 1. And again, you can skip all of this just by clicking on modules over here. But I'm going to go ahead and click on Module 1. And so the module page will set you up for the next couple of weeks. It'll tell you how many weeks we will be in this module. In this case, we will be here for 3 weeks. It'll tell you an estimated time that you should spend over the next 3 weeks. So 18 to 20 hours. If you divide that by 3 for 3 weeks, you can determine, 6 to 7 hours that you will need to spend each week on the class. And that's an average, but it could take you less. And then as you go down, it'll tell you the learning outcomes. Why is it that we're doing the work that we're doing? These are the outcomes that we're trying to get at. And then it says, let's go. So you can either return to the modules tab or just hit next. Now, units are weeks. So each unit that you look at is a week. So unit 1 is week 1. Unit 2 is week 2. And so in this case, this was on your to-do list to look at this page at the beginning of the week. And so you can see that I've outlined briefly what it is you're going to be doing. Again, you have your learning outcomes. And then the learning outcomes at this phase are a little bit more specific to the actions that you'll be doing and learning. And then I give you each week a schedule. I recommend that you spend at least 3 days a week in the class because there will always be something for you to do for 3 days. There's always something for you to do on Monday. There's always something for you to do on Wednesday. And then there's always an assignment due on Friday. The pattern repeats, so it's easy to fall into. So you always know Monday, Wednesday, Friday, you need to check into your journalism class. Now this week was a little different because we spent the first 3 days working on the orientation, and now we are cramming in the rest of the week into Thursday and Friday. So yesterday you had 2 lectures to do, and you probably figured those out pretty easily. You also have reading. Now, the reading is important because when you do your pack-back questions, which I'll talk about here in a second, you want to use the reading to support the pack-back question. You're not just going to be asking random questions. The questions have to be related to the topics in your reading. Okay? And the videos or the lectures all have quizzes built into them. Now, the quizzes can be retaken, so if you don't score 100% on them, retake them because you do have to score a passing grade on them in order for the next module to open. Okay, so 2 lectures, you'll see that same thing next week, but instead of being on Thursday, they'll be on Monday. And then on Wednesday, you'll be working on your pack-back questions, and then the assignment that's due is on Friday. So let's first talk about pack-back questions. Now, I made a little video for you. The video is down here at the bottom, so if you're curious about it, so I'm not going to spend too much time on it right now, but basically when you click on Packback, either here on the menu button or at the bottom, it will take you over into Packback. The idea is that you ask questions that you are curious about based on the reading that you did in this particular unit. So here we have, oh, and you can use the lecture content as well. So for the reading, we learned about, let's click on that really quick. You scroll down here, you are doing a discussion on the 4 types of journalists, so you probably don't want to ask too many questions about that in Packback. But the other 2 articles, handout and the article, what is the purpose of journalism? What are the elements of journalism? Many of you are new to journalism, so what questions do you have? What makes you curious? And so you read this article, anything that stands out to you that sounds weird, sounds interesting, sounds fun, it doesn't matter. It's just, what is your curiosity level? That's where you're going to ask the questions. And same thing for this article, Journalism Matters, How a War on Truth Can Create a Triumph of Truth-Telling. And this is a really interesting article because the way our news is going lately is very difficult to find good news because there's so much fake news out there. And then the recommended readings can also be used for your Packback, but again, as I stated in the beginning of the course, the recommended readings are usually for my journalism majors, those of you that are really interested in journalism. So they're not required, but just recommended that you might read those. Okay, so let's go back and look at Packback questions. All right, so the instructions tell you that this particular assignment will last over a 2-week period. And so for the first week, where are these instructions up here? So for the first week, you will ask, see, bi-weekly, 1 open-ended question. Okay, and then for the second week, you're going to answer 2 of the questions. Sometimes you will find polls, question polls that I will ask, and you can answer one of those to take the place of one of your 2 responses. But here's an example of a good question that you could ask. Let's take a quick look at that. And so you're asking things that you're curious about. What do you want to know about? Now, you don't have to answer the question, right? You're asking for opinions about things. Open-ended questions aren't questions where you're asking for a fact. You know, what is the job of an editor? That's not the type of question that we're asking because anyone could just look that up and give you a response. But maybe a question like, would you ever consider being an editor given the role that you would play in the newsroom? Now that gives everybody an opportunity to present their opinion about whether or not they would want to be an editor and to impart the knowledge of what they know about being an editor. And of course, that would have to come from the reading because we don't want to stump anybody. We don't want anyone to have to do research. So the questions that you ask should have something to do with what we are learning for that week. So here's the question: why study online journalism? Right? And that's essentially what this class is all about, is not just journalism, but writing for online journalism. So why is that important today? Well, everyone's going to have a different reason or a different perspective on why we would do that. And that's what you're looking for. You want to give people open-ended questions so that they can think about the answer, reflect on what they've read, and then give a response, right? So there's no expectation that you do research to do this assignment. Okay, so let's jump into PackBack, and you'll find the link all the way at the bottom of the assignment, or again, you can click PackBack over here on this menu button. I like clicking this one because it opens up in a new window. If you click it on the menu bar, it opens up right in Canvas. Now, if you do open it up in Canvas, this is going to be in the way. All you have to do is hit this X and then it disappears. And so we are working on PackBack 1. So I'm going to go back over here to this one. All right, so PackBack 1. All right, so we already have some great brave souls who've asked some questions. We got Jasmine who's asked a question. But the very first person to ask a question was Amy. And so she asked the question. Now the goal is to score 50 curiosity points. So you can see here, Amy has 90 curiosity points. So the AI system that is reviewing Amy's work decided that she did a really nice job and gave her 90 curiosity points. Part of it is because she used the URL from the source that she's talking about, and she wrote enough, right? So this is generally about the minimum, the least amount that you can write in order to get a good score. But it's also about citing your sources too. So let me show you a really good post. Not that Amy's isn't good, hers is good too. All right, so Angelina's post. So let's go ahead and click on Angelina's, and let's look at what she did in order to earn 98 curiosity points. I don't think I've even seen one that high before. So the key thing is that she asks a good question. How do you think digital media will change in the next 5 years? And would it be better? So this is your opinion based on the facts of what you've learned in the reading. She also cites her source, right? And then she quotes from her source. This is how you get the most points, is using your quotes from what you are reading. Okay, not required, but it does make a big difference. Okay, so this is a good one to look at. Angie doesn't have a avatar. Boo, Angie. Not required, but it's always fun to see the avatars. So you will gain points on the leaderboard by the number of curiosity points you've earned, and also whether or not you have been featured or sparked. So I like this one, so I've featured it and I've sparked it. So when we go back and look at the leaderboard, we can see people who are on the leaderboard based on what they've done so far. So over here, if I click this, it's going to open this up, and let's take a quick look at the leaderboard. So Paige is the top of the leaderboard because she has basically completed the assignment. She's asked her question and she's responded twice. Now, I don't really like that you do that all in one go because you're missing out. What happens is next week when all the questions are there, you won't even come back and look, right? So you're in your mind done with it. But I want for you to learn from each other. And if you go in and there's only 2 or 3 questions and you answer both of those and then you're done with it, you've missed out on all the others that will eventually show up, right? So there's 23 of you in the class, and if you've only seen 2 or 3 questions, think about what you've missed out on. It's almost like if you are in a fantasy football draft, I love football, and you only get to choose from the NFC, your quarterback, and you're like, what? All the good quarterbacks are in the AFC, Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, right? And you're like, well, when I was drafting, they weren't available. It's the same concept. You're missing out sometimes. That doesn't mean that what's there now isn't good. Okay, then Angie's next on the leaderboard because she had a lot of curiosity points, even though she's only responded once. But the responses are due next week, So you all have plenty of time to come in. But your questions need to be posted this week. If they're not posted, you're still able to do it next week, but you lose points. You're not going to earn full credit on your Pack-Back assignment. Okay, so I just wanted to point that out. So that's Pack-Back. Let's go ahead and jump back into Canvas and see the last thing we have to do this week. All right, so here's the Delphinium Module 1. You can see all of these, the overview, the lecture, the reading that you all have to view, and then you have your handouts that you have to read, and then these are your assignments. So we just talked about Pack-Back questions. You have this discussion that is a flip discussion. Remember, you need to reply, you need to post and reply using video. And so if you don't remember how to do that, there was a video in the first assignment showing you how to do that. And then I just want you to give me your writing profile. Your writing profile is just you telling me a little bit about your writing, what you like to do, if you enjoy it, do you read it all, you know, what have your previous experience has been for reading. I'm giving you a lot of questions to consider, but I don't want you to answer all of them. That would be like a 10-page paper if you're answering all of these questions. I want you to pick and choose the most important things for you to share and then write that into a cohesive essay. Okay, so I'm looking at your writing style and how well you write and so forth. So don't stress over this. It's really not about whether or not you answer the questions correctly. It's really about how you express yourself in sharing with me your writing profile. So that's going to be due, I believe, on Sunday, the 10th. You can see the rubric on how that's going to be graded. So you do have quite a bit to do over the next couple of days if you haven't started already. And so let's get it done. Remember, there will be a one-day late day grace period. So if you submit something one day late, the late points will be removed. But then after that, it's going to be 10% off for each day it is late. So you want to stay on top of things so you don't fall behind and start to lose points. All right, if you do have any questions, you know how to get a hold of me.